Welcome back, legends. It is Friday. That means it's time for Weighted Opinions, episode 11. It goes right now. You already know what time it is. It's Weighted Opinions, the podcast where I put ideas on the bar to see what they actually weigh. And just like in the gym, if you do it with enough ego, you might be lucky enough to walk away with a hernia. Speaking of ego, I'm your host, Jared the Great, strength coach, high performance enthusiast, and the guy who will absolutely judge you and ask you why the hell you're doing plyometrics with those ugly ass Converse shoes that aren't popular anymore. Okay? You haven't trained your frickin' legs properly since Obama was in office. Let's get over it, find some new shoes that actually help you function, and let's get down to it. Here we go. All right, today's topic. We are talking about how to train like a pro athlete without needing a pro athlete contract, millions of dollars in the bank, a private chef, your own personal masseuse, a recovery room that looks like it was developed by the head of NASA, you know, all the stuff that isn't available to us everyday warriors. So let's be honest, most of us are just trying to stay athletic, capable, and not snap in half that one night a week that we play adult recreational sports. Right? So this episode is dedicated to all of you guys, the ones who train real, who work real hard, who have a real job, who have kids, and just, you know, that real life everyday warrior. Let's get after it and let's dive into it. But first, just like last week, you know, we got to give a shout out to our definitely real sponsor. So today's episode is unofficially sponsored by a cold tub for broke people. When you want elite recovery, but you also have bills to pay, simply fill your bathtub with ice, all your dread and regret, and the memory of that time you missed the game-winning shot in junior high that still haunts you. All right? It's a cold tub for broke people. Why pay $8,000 when you can go to 7-Eleven and get one more energy drink for the day and spend $6.99 on ice? Cool. Anyways, let's dive into the main segment of today's work here. What pro athletes do and what you can too. It's strength training that actually transfers to sport. No fluff, no circus tricks, no bullshit like that one guy you see balancing on the Bosu or Swiss ball while juggling medicine balls and dumbbells. You don't need to do that. It's ridiculous. All right. So if we are strength training for anything sport specific, let's just give it to you straight. What are your staples? Almost the same as every other frickin' program, okay? We're going to focus on the big ROI lifts, your big compounds. You're going to be doing some squats. You're going to be doing deadlifts. You're going to be doing lunges. You're going to be vertical and horizontal pressing, as well as vertical and horizontal pulling. And the real cheat code here, especially for athletics, is single leg work or single plane work, unilateral stuff. I see so many people skipping on this, never including it in their programs, and it is freaking pivotal to your overall success, especially when transferring to athletics or sports performance. All right? So if you want to run faster, jump higher, hit harder, you don't need to flip that tractor tire and put on the weight vest and the tractor chains and whatever, all that garbage that you see that one guy who's way too intense and always foaming out the mouth at the gym doing. You just need strong legs, strong glutes, a core that can maybe take a shot from a cannonball. But either way, these are the things we need to focus on. And like I said, those big ROI, return on investment, compound lifts. But most importantly, that single plane unilateral work is going to be the biggest cheat code and give you so much more than everybody who's not doing it. All right? Focus up, listen, apply it. Let's go. Okay, so here's the real part of it. Athletes train fast. Speed and acceleration training is huge, right? They don't just move faster accidentally or because they're built better or they have superior genetics, right? These are things, if you spend any time on Reddit or the internet or YouTube or wherever the hell you get your fitness advice and follow the trends, most of the time you're going to hear stupid things like they're just built different. They have God tier elite genetics, blah, 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 blah. You're right, because nobody that's on that elite tier or world class ever just fucking earned it, right? That would be crazy. They were just God's gift to humanity. They had a leg up from the start. They uncovered this unworldly ability that was buried deep in their genetic DNA sequencing. No. Do some of us have extraordinary ability or pick things up very fast and just are able to apply and perform them at a high level? Yes, 100%. Some people have better academic skills. Some people have better physical skills. Some people just have different skill sets. It's not always they had better genetics. They were just born with it. Blah, 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 blah. They train. They train hard. They train fast. And it's not by accident, okay? So speed and acceleration training if you're an athlete. Sprinting. Okay, this is one of those things. There's a stat out there that I see a bunch. I think, I don't know if it's people in general or men, but I think it's past the age of 35. Most people or men or whoever it was will never fully sprint again in their lifetime, which is freaking insane. Like, you should get out there and test your wheels and move your ass and see how fast you can go like an angry animal is chasing you, just on the odd chance that there's an angry animal chasing you. I'd rather access that and know how to access that than be in an oh shit moment where your legs don't work anymore and now your ass is about to get eaten, right? So sprinting intervals, anywhere from short distance, 10 meters to 40 meters, seeing how fast you can do it. Quick starts and seeing how explosive you can get it done, tracking your metrics, blah, 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 right? So how do we do that? Well, we can track things like acceleration mechanics with quick starts, starting off the lines, starting with, like the fake gunshot or starting whistle, whatever that you're not ready for, that you have to react to when you hear it. Things in the gym like sled pushes. If you work with me frequently, you get a shit ton of sled pushing and pulling because that's also important. But doing things at different weights, different levels of acceleration and speed, you get a plethora of different applications of this, and those are huge to your overall acceleration mechanics. All right. The flip side of that is deceleration. You need to learn how to slow down properly. You need to learn your agility and quick changes of direction and to be able to shift, pivot while maintaining that speed and that explosiveness without coming to a complete stop. So if you want speed, you need max effort sprints, not jogs that look like you might be sort of loosely chasing that ice cream frickin' man that just drove by like 10 seconds ago while you were in the bathroom taking a pee. And now you got to clean up that pee all over the seat because you barely got out of there in time to try and half-ass chase him down the block. Yeah. So like I say, sprinting intervals, things like quick starts and heavy sled pushes or lighter sled pushes at different acceleration paces, deceleration, agility, quick direction change, etc., etc. What's the next part of it? Great question. I'm about to tell you. Just relax. All right. So I would say your next leg of that would be your power and your explosiveness. If you want pop, your training needs to be violent and like in a controlled, not murderous way. Like, we're athletes, not gladiators yet. So like, here are your easy ones that are accessible in most of your fitness institutions. Box jumps, broad jumps, med ball throws or slams, plyometric push-ups, things that have explosive, quick twitch, muscle fiber movements. And again, if you train with me with any frequency or regularity, you're starting to see that all of the things have a purpose and there's a method to the madness, right? You do all of these things regularly. I incorporate them into all kinds of strength programs, group fitness, because everybody should be at least a little bit athletically inclined. And like, until you prove me wrong, training like an athlete is the most efficient way to get things done for the everyday fitness level that's most transferable to every aspect of life. Okay? Fight me if you don't agree. I'm still right. You're wrong. Anyways, that's why they call me Jared the Great. Get over it. So with all of these things, there are a lot of movements, like box jumps being one specifically, where I've seen them go gnarly and I've seen them go wrong. People using metal stand box jumps in gyms and having somebody miss and shear their shin down to the bone and leave, 6 inches of skin on the front of the box. People are afraid of these things, and like rightfully so, but that's why you should, at every place you go, sign a waiver. If you haven't, maybe take a spill and sue your fitness institution. Not in Canada, because you can't get shit here. But if the movement doesn't scare you a little bit, it's not power training and it's not pushing you out of your comfort zone. It's just probably bullshit cardio in disguise. F45. We're not calling anybody out. It's fine. It's just some things have a bigger return on investment. I'm going to keep using that. And other things just make you sweat a little bit so that your clothes and your gym gear in your bag is damp and stinks. And you feel like you got your value for whatever extortionate price you got charged that month. Sorry, not sorry. Moving on. Next segment. Let's go. Everybody's favorite part. And this is why I keep it unpredictable in my programming. And I don't post my workouts for my groups or send out my programming early to anybody, because it's the part that everybody loves to skip and they're magically sick on that day, or the weather is a big prohibiting factor, or their kid crapped their pants, or they have a flat tire, a headache, whatever the hell it is. It's conditioning, okay? You have to condition like an athlete, though. You don't need to be a treadmill zombie that just walks like at a go-nothing pace, like they've got all day to get somewhere and nowhere to be, because I see that shit all the time, and you're just wasting your time. But here's the truth of it. Pro athletes don't just do steady state forever. They mix intensities because sport has differing levels, and it's not always the same tempo. Sometimes it's quick and you're right into it and it's super intense. Sometimes it's longer form, duration sort of thing. So ways to train different conditioning. Intervals, right? Whether you're doing some sort of split with your runs on your treadmills, your walks, your whatever it is, tempo runs. Again, training with me, assault bike sprints, you love them. Okay? Things like shuttle runs, suicides. I don't know if we can still call them that anymore, because people get so freaking upset and fight invisible battles and wars that don't mean anything to anybody. I personally like to disguise my conditioning for my clients a lot of the time in the form of strength training. So doing high intensity interval circuits and, picking 4 or 5 strength movements and doing AMRAPs or EMOMs or whatever it is. So you're not only building more mechanically sound movements and ingraining movement patterns better, but you're doing it in a high intensity so that you're getting a sweat on, you're getting that heart rate up, you're building your cardio, your endurance, and all these things, so that when you need to access your cardio and your conditioning, but you're not doing them weighted or in a strength training fashion, it seems like your battery could go all day because you're used to doing them under load or with resistance or against more than just your body weight that you're going to be using for your sport-specific application. So that's the bottom line there, right? And nobody likes conditioning because it sucks. It hurts. It's hard. You get sweaty. You feel like you peed your shirt, like it's uncomfortable. But if your conditioning doesn't make you rethink your every life choice, especially that snack you had last night that you knew you shouldn't have, but it was so delicious, and then you had a second serving, if it doesn't make you rethink your life choices, you probably didn't actually do any conditioning. Like, again, sorry, not sorry to call your ass out, but somebody's got to do it. This shit's gotten too soft and nobody wants to say anything truthful anymore. So there it is, conditioning. Next, moving on. All right, the next one we're going to get into, and it's going to trigger a bunch of people and you're going to feel called out, but it's because you're shitting the bed and you're not doing what you're supposed to. What is the next segment? Recovery. It's the thing that most people treat freaking optionally, right? The pros and these athletes out there, they recover and they prioritize their recovery like their paycheck depends on it, because it fucking does. They can't perform at that level every other night or night after night if their recovery isn't on point. And nowadays, there's, again, thanks to this beautiful world of the internet and social media everybody's going to try and sell you the magic pill, and it's, cryo and cold plunging and this, that, and the other thing, and injections here and blah, 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 blah. But everything comes with such a freaking premium price tag because it's the cure all and it's the one thing you didn't know you're missing. The truth is, your recovery doesn't have to cost you the same as your mortgage. Here are your affordable options. And number one is going to be sleep. I know it's so crazy that sleep is so recovering. It's underrated and undefeated, and there is nothing that's going to recover you more than your sleep. But most of you are getting sub 6 hours when you should be getting like no less than 7 and pushing for 8 and sometimes more, depending on your body's needs or your availability. So sleep. Prioritize your freaking sleep. Stop sacrificing your sleep to watch another episode of Stranger Things. That shit will be on whenever you need it or you have time. And grow up, okay? Number 2, hydration. Drink water. The amount of times I've had a conversation or heard somebody say I don't like water is I don't even know what to say to that. Let's put it in context. I hear some of the most ridiculous excuses and dumbest shit on the daily. But when somebody says, I don't like the taste of water or I don't like water, I want to burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid man and kick you in the throat. That is one of the dumbest frickin' things I've ever said. You're so deconditioned to have your intake, your food, your drink, whatever, be a pleasurable experience that you've forgotten that food is fuel. And when you're thirsty, hydration is what's necessary. Drink water, okay? Coke Zero isn't hydrating. Having another triple coffee is not hydrating. Okay, you just like these things that are sugar delivery systems and little dopamine pleasure system driving things. All right. If you're thirsty, drink some frickin' water, hydrate. And very, very close behind that is your protein intake. All right. And specifically, I'm going to pick on the women here because in my career, it's generally them that it's harder to get to eat optimal protein levels, right? A lot of women I've worked with in my career think oh, I did really good with my protein today, yada, yada, yada. But when we actually start tracking, they're lucky if they're getting 60 to 90 grams a day. And for a 140 pound to 160 pound person that's training like an athlete, you're not even in the ballpark of what you need to recover and repair and rebuild. All right. So sleep, protein, hydration, top 3, 100%. Beyond that, stretching is not my favorite thing. And there's more and more coming out now that's saying static stretching and things are, the return on investment is closer to useless than it is useful. Mobility work, however, that is not stretching, okay? That is something completely different where you're putting your body in loaded positions and pushing it past its available mobile level or limit. That is a completely different thing, okay? So mobility work, probably the next one on that list. And then the one that comes after this, again, is going to be drinking water. It should be very basic and you should be very aware of it, but it is very underrated and underutilized. Easy, available, free to everybody. Walk. Get your steps in. Yes, basic walking. It is great for you. You should be getting 10,000 steps a day at least, all right? Take your dog on a walk. Walk your kids to the park. Instead of sitting down, walk around. Get those steps in. Get your blood flowing, okay? All of that is so beneficial and so helpful and so criminally underrated. And if you move with some pace, if you're not just sauntering like sad Eeyore that's got nothing left to live for, if you're moving around, you walk up and down some hills and you're moving at a good clip, walking is such good, almost cardio level activity as well. All right. So get out and get your steps in. Walking is such a great recovery method. And then beyond that, sometimes you're going to need the basics like ice and heat in an alternating fashion to bring down that inflammation, restore, repair, rebuild things, sort of thing. So the recovery is the secret sauce to all of your training. If your training is the meat and potatoes, your recovery is the secret sauce. You can't train like an absolute savage and then recover like a raccoon in a dumpster fire. All right, good. I'm glad we understand. Let's move on. Okay, so next, we had such a good time with it last week that we're going to do some Q&A again, all right? So here we go, diving into another glorious segment of Ask Jared the Great. So it's time to answer some questions again, the ones that I had a few of you send me, and yes, I'm going to judge you hugely for them. Question number one that I received and chose here was, do I need supplements to train like an athlete? No. Okay. And most of you, if you know me personally, you know I'm not a huge supplement person. What's the best supplement on the planet? Food. Food is a supplement. All right. Supplements are supplemental to your food intake. Protein powder is freaking chicken in a blender. Like, creatine is the only one that is science backed, and everything else is just emotionally deployed marketing trying to get your attention and appeal to your struggle and get you emotionally invested, thinking it's that magic pill that you've been missing. All right? That's it. Question number two. Do I need to or should I train twice a day like the pros? No. Again, you're not at that level is the simple answer. So no. But also, you have a job, a life, a spouse, kids, an animal, and functioning joints. Okay? So you need to train hard with intensity 3 to 5 times a week, depending where you are in your program or your level of training. And you also need to focus on the recovery, like I was just saying, like you're getting paid to do it. All right? The double days are for the elite athletes and the Olympians who have a team full of people behind them. And they're putting in 8 hours a day like it's their job between their training and recovery and stuff that you don't have access to. So if you can't do the same thing as them, don't train like them, because you're going to overtrain and it's going to do more harm than good. If you're trying to train twice a day, you're just somebody who's trying to prove some bullshit on social media and posture to people that you don't even know, or you hate free time. All right? So yeah, moving on. Question number 3. I wasn't really sure how to interpret this. I guess you mean in terms of sports, but that's not how I'm going to answer it. How long until I'm explosive? About 45 minutes post eating Taco Bell. Anyways, next question. No, I'm kidding. If you train smart with intent and you have good programming, you could be more explosive in a few weeks, depending, again, what your starting point is, what you're training for. It's a pretty wide open, non-specific question, so I'm not sure how to fully answer it. So, like, if you train dumb, you'll explode a hamstring. That's another aspect. Or maybe I should just stick with the Taco Bell answer. Yeah, but like I said, if you're training smart, you have structure, proper periodization, you're working with a good coach that walks the walk and doesn't just talk the talk, because there's a lot of you freaking textbook warriors that have read stuff and pretend you know everything, even though you've never played a sport a day in your life. Yeah, that's it. I'm only taking those 3 questions. I had a few other ones, but nothing really overly applicable. So again, if you have questions or things you want me to touch on here, regardless of the topics that I'm covering or the theme of the episode that I'm on, since I don't put that out there until you're seeing these episodes, just send me your questions, okay? If you have me on socials, find me on socials, comment them, put them here, whatever. And I would love to include them, okay? So, like they say, there's no such thing as dumb questions. There is. But I also love those because it's good for getting a laugh out of people. So any concerns, any questions, whatever, just send them my way and we'll see if we can dive into them. Great. Cool. Moving on. I think we've kind of dabbled and we've gone all in on a lot of things here. So I've touched on kind of the methods and the importance of things working through there. So, like, remember, you are the athlete of your own life, and depending what you're trying to do, what your goal is, what you're training for, you just need to train properly and get help from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. Okay? So I think with that being said, that's going to be a wrap on today's episode. So in short, let's recap here. You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need a personal chef. You don't need a cryo chamber that looks like you borrowed it from the set of a Marvel movie. You need good programming. You need somebody who knows what they're talking about to help you with your strength, speed, power, conditioning, recovery, and most of all, consistency, because that is a huge one, right? Regardless of everything else, consistency. So yeah, train like an athlete, not one of those treadmill zombies, as I mentioned. Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, if you laughed, if you learned, or you're suddenly inspired to go see if you can hit that maximum sprint because you're not sure if you've ever done it, or if you're in that category of people that never will again, then go run. Run like you owe somebody money and they're coming calling for it, all right? As per usual, I would love and appreciate if you drop me a follow, leave a review, or send this to somebody who thinks lightly jogging once every 4 months is athleticism. As usual, I am your host, Jared the Great. Thank you for tuning in. The bar was loaded. Ideas are heavy. I'm sarcastic as shit, and I will be here again next week to spot your brain. So as usual, my friends, stay glorious.